Good evening. If you have your Bibles, let's open them to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and we're going to be looking at verse 29. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 29. Larry Walters was a career truck driver, but he always wanted to be a pilot. And so in July of 1982, he was able to take his long-wanted and lifelong dream of flying, but it wasn't the typical flight. Larry Walters was unable to be a pilot in the United States Air Force because he had very poor eyesight. In fact, his eyesight was so poor that even from a young age, he had to wear glasses just to read the board during school. But that didn't deter him because he wanted to be a pilot and he wanted to fly. And so in the summer of 1982, Larry Walters purchased 43 8-foot weather balloons and a number of helium tanks. And in the backyard of his home, he strapped 43 8-foot weather balloons to a lawn chair and filled those balloons with helium. He, on the day of July the 2nd, went to his backyard, put on a parachute, grabbed a pellet gun, a CB radio, 2 sandwiches, some beer, and a camera. His friends cut the cord that was holding his chair to the ground, and he took the flight he always wanted. Now, the plan was for the lawn chair to raise to about 4,000 feet and for him to cruise for a little while and then shoot some of the balloons out, drift down to the ground, and land his iconic flight. But instead of rising to 4,000 feet, he quickly rose to 16,000 feet. He was even on the news, interviewed with 2 airline pilots of a commercial airline group that saw him while they were flying that day. He was so high up. After spending about 45 minutes in the air, Larry Walters took his pellet gun and began to shoot some of the balloons so that his lawn chair would lower to the ground, and accidentally dropped his pellet gun. And instead of lowering quickly, it took him most of the day to lower down to the ground. On his trip down to the ground, his balloons got caught in a power line, and eventually that power line broke, caused a 20-minute power outage in Long Beach, California, and he landed safely on the ground. He ended up being fined $4,000 for operating an aircraft without a license. But he got what he was searching for. His childhood dream of flying became a reality. The truth for every one of us is that in some way, shape, or form, we're all searching or seeking after something. For Larry Walters, it was the childhood dream to be a pilot. And because he could not do it from an airplane, he strapped some balloons to a chair, and some songs, a couple of books, and one very popular Disney movie was written about his story, even though the story was changed some. He got his childhood dream, but he got it because nothing would stop him from seeking after it. My question to you tonight is, what is it that you are seeking? What are you searching after that you want it so bad, nothing would stop you from getting it? For some of us, we search after the love of another person. And we may search for that our whole life and try to fulfill it. Maybe it was the love of a parent that we felt we never got. Maybe it was the love of someone that we had but slipped through our fingers. Maybe we search for love. Some of us search for a position of authority. We want to be known, whether it's in our occupation or our community, and we'll give all of our effort to get that thing. Some of us strive for retirement. That's the most important thing to us, and once we hit that, we believe it's smooth sailing on from there. We're all searching and seeking for something. My plea to you tonight is, like Larry Walters, to search with it with the same tenacity, but to search after the right thing. In Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 29, God says to the people of Israel, you're going to go into the promised land, and it's going to be a great place, and you're going to live there, but eventually you're going to turn away from me, and I'm going to drive you out of the land, and you're going to serve gods made of stone and rock, and you're not going to do what I've asked you to do. But when you finally have hit rock bottom, you will come to your senses, and he says in verse 29, but from there, that point, you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him. If you search after him with all your heart and with all your soul. All of us are seeking after something, but let's all make sure that we're seeking after the right things. And let's make sure whatever it is we're seeking after, that the top thing be God. I know there's childhood dreams. You probably had dreams of doing something as a child that you may have never done. Some of you may be living out the dreams you had as a child, and you may be seeking other things. I don't know. But my encouragement to you tonight is with the tenacity of Larry Walters. I'm not asking you to strap balloons to a lawn chair. That's a bad idea. But search after God with the same tenacity, with that same zeal and excitement. And as you seek after God, seek after the thing God asks you to seek after. Like, for instance, in Romans chapter 12, verse 13, Paul says Christians should seek to show hospitality. Or 1 Corinthians 10:24, we should seek to show good to our neighbor. 1 Peter 3 and verse 11, we need to seek to be at peace with all people. Or Colossians chapter 1, we need to seek the things that are above. We're all seeking something. My question to you tonight is, what are you seeking? What are you searching after so much that nothing would deter you? I hope that that's God. Or maybe tonight you've never sought after God and you want to seek after him and you want to come to know him. And you want to become a Christian. You want to follow God tonight. We've got a perfect opportunity. The invitation song presents an opportunity for you to come down, sit on these front pews, and we've got water ready for you to obey the gospel. Maybe at one point you sought after God, but somewhere along the way you let the idols of wood and stone drive you out of the land of God, and it's time for you to seek him again, to return to him. Whatever the case is, don't let your desire to seek God die out. Don't let it be snuffed by the world and smothered by the desires of the world. Seek God with all your heart, with all your soul. And the Bible makes a promise. When we do that, we will find him. If you seek God tonight, you'll find him. The Bible promises that, and we can rely on that. If you need to respond to the invitation, now's a good time. We're going to sing the invitation song. And if you need to make something known, if you need to obey the gospel, if you need to come back to God, please do so while we stand and sing.